Hello, so the objective of this video is going to be to talk about handlebars and outputting with a format of JSON. And so let's get right down and get started to this. So first of all, it's important to understand what an API is. And if we look at the Ion API over here, ion.tjhst.edu/API, we can see that there's there's a way to actually query Ion to get the schedule for the day. So, and among other things, there's an API route, but among other things, we can access the schedule. And right now, if we were to look at the source of this page, doing like a control U, we'd see that this is fully formatted HTML, like this is an HTML page. One of the other options to getting this information, though, is we can get it as JSON, which is to say that there is no, if we were to view the source is the same as what we're looking at right here. It's viewed as a JavaScript object, a JSON object, which is machine and human parsable. And so this has all of the information, but what we can do is we can download this through some web utility, and we can tease out the actual like the actual blocks and so on and so forth. Okay, so notice we did this by entering format is equal to JSON. If we enter this incorrectly, like format is equal to ASDF, well, that's not found. If we go back, we can look at the API schedule this way. So we're going to look to sort of emulate this behavior a little bit with this discussion over here. So what I've got is a very basic server here. I've got a very basic Express server. And inside of here, I have some JavaScript JSON object, basically some JavaScript object that has some keys and values inside of this thing. I'm going to be using handlebars HBS as our templating engine, and I'm initializing it by saying HBS is equal to require HBS. And note that I had to npm install all the packages in order to make this happen. Line 17 over here, I set the view engine to HBS. And so what this does, and we can sort of comment this out over here, what this does is it allows us to use this command over here to res.render. And so basically, when I see res.render 1, this is implying that in a subfolder of my current directory named views, I have a file named 1.hbs. And inside of that file, I'm going to remove this additional information. If I were to open this up, that file basically looks like HTML code, because handlebars is basically HTML over here. And this is my template. And the template will be filled in with parameters that are over here. So one's 1 and this, and so on and so forth. So by rendering, it's saying basically do this page. So if I go to my server over here, and I'm going to go to a terminal, and I'm going to say node index.js. Oh, turns out that I have a server running. That's not right. Hold on a second here. All right, we're back. Well, it turns out that I had another terminal open doing the same thing. So if I say node index.js, I'm going to start my server up over here. And then, as we recall, I can get to a server running on my local machine by typing in the address 127.0.0.1. And so what we're going to get over here is we get this HTML code. Notice that none of the templates were filled in. None of the templates were filled in because we did not pass an object. But this is a dynamic object that we can pass information into. We could pass a key named 1, pass a key named A, pass a key named user.roles. We could pass this information into this template, and it would render it with more information. So, for example, if I passed in the object foo over here, and I go back and I restart my server and go back, I can reload this page. Oh yeah, look, we're getting information inside of here. I can reload this page now. So it's taking the information that was inside of the object and rendering it according to the template rules. So we can see here, if we look at the original template rules, we see, hi there, user.name is we go through each of the roles. Okay, so we see that the user.name was Paul, and user.roles was an array, so teacher and admin. And so each of those roles was going to be given its own list item here, and that appears to be what's happened here. This was filled in Paul as a teacher and an admin. So we've got this, this is the point of handlebars or any templating engine is to be able to control like dynamically the information that's available over here. And it's nice, so you can see that I have this list over here that was generated, and you know that's a simple, this is extensible in that I just go through each element of A. So if I add more elements to a key, if I add more elements to an array that's as part of a key, I'm going to be able to iterate over more of these things. So relatively straightforward. So the question is then next, what about this additional parameter inside of here? And you can see that I sort of bypassed. This isn't the best mechanism. Sent equals false. We'll update this in the future, and I'll tell you in a future date why this is not the best approach, but this is sufficient for right now. So at this point, if I were to go to my server and I were to give it an additional query parameters and format is equal to JSON, we're getting the same page because there was no conditional check to see if a rec.query key of format was placed in there and if JSON was the value of this thing. So what I can do right now is I can uncomment this code, and I'm going to go back over to my server. I'm going to kill off the server, and I'm going to restart this thing. And so now, if I say format is equal to JSON, what we're going to find is that this information was passed out very differently. Okay, so what happened here? So what happened was we res.jsoned the information, right? So if the format, if a key named format was in the query parameter, so I first checked to see if there was a format key there, then if that key was actually equal to JSON, I res.jsoned out our original object, and I indicate that sent was true, and over here I'm just making sure that I didn't already send information over here. Part of the reason is if I send something like this, and it's possible that what we're going to get is we're going to try to send the information twice to the user, which doesn't actually work. That's not, we should get an error. We get a big ugly error here. Cannot send once they've already been sent. You can't send information to the client twice. So in later dates, we'll talk about better tricks at preventing you from sending information to the user twice. But basically, what I hope you can see right now is that this is two different lenses of looking at the same information, right? This information is foo over here. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to clear off this server. And we'll watch the output. So we have this foo object, and by running a conditional check, we can either get the data as JSON, or we can make our own lens into the data that has some sort of formatted output. Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot.